very much. Welcome to ComfortTV.channel news, where we bring you verified and balanced news from Nigeria and around the world. Thank you for joining us again this morning. In the headlines, President Tinubu hosts ex-Governor Soludo at Abia in post-election talks. Governor Otti pledges full backing for army as Abia strengthens security ahead of Christmas. Southwest APC calls for coordinated action as insecurity spikes across Nigeria. Katsina introduces overhaul of pension system to improve payment efficiency. AIICO confirms expulsion of Kogi lawmaker amid escalating internal rift. India arrests 50 Nigerians in major crackdown on transnational drug and Hawala network. On business news, CBN reports 74.41 trillion naira credit to private sector in 1 month. AIICO launches all-in-one financial protection to safeguard farmers and low-income Nigerians. On the foreign scene, President Macron launches voluntary military service for French youths. China rebukes Japan over Taiwan comments, calls for reflection on colonial past. On sports, Ademola Lookman commits to Atalanta despite transfer speculation. Sunderland fan banned for 3 years over racist abuse of Leeds players. Now the news. Anambra State Governor Professor Chukwuma Soludo Charles, CFR, held a high-level meeting with President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, at the presidential villa in Abuja. The engagement drew significant attention within political and governing circles, marking the first public interaction between the two leaders since the conclusion of the recent Anambra governorship election. President Tinubu received Governor Soludo in a notably warm manner, reflecting the long-standing personal and political relationship between them, which has spanned more than 2 decades. The atmosphere inside the villa was calm and cordial, with both men settling into an extended private dialogue before stepping out for a brief interaction with aides and associates. The meeting reinforced the president's earlier public acknowledgement of the Anambra election outcome, which returned Governor Soludo to office with a dominant share of votes announced by the Independent National Electoral Commission. The encounter further signaled the president's willingness to maintain a constructive working partnership with the Anambra state government, especially in areas that correspond with national economic and development priorities. Although neither sides disclosed the full details of the closed-door conversation, officials familiar with the engagement indicated that several key subjects may have been reviewed. This reportedly included security challenges in the southeast, prospects for deeper federal-state collaboration, and new approaches to accelerating investment-led growth in Anambra State. Governor Soludo used the occasion to express appreciation for the reception and reaffirm his administration's readiness to strengthen cooperation with the federal government. He restated his commitment to delivering long-term infrastructure upgrades, improving community-level security structures, and enhancing the overall quality of life for Anambra citizens. Governor Dr. Alex Otti has reaffirmed his administration's commitment to working closely with the Nigerian Army in the ongoing fight against terrorism and other criminal activities across the state. He gave the assurance in Umuahia while receiving the newly posted General Officer commanding GOC 82 Division Enugu, Major General Oluremi Fadairo, who also doubles as Commander of Operation Udoka, the Southeast Joint Task Force. Governor Otti restated that his government places strong emphasis on security as the foundation of development, adding that Abia will continue to devote significant resources to protecting lives and property. He noted that effective security requires deliberate efforts, consistent planning, and substantial investment, and stressed that his administration is prepared to sustain all necessary measures to keep the state stable. He encouraged the new GOC to familiarize himself with army formations and operational locations across Abia, assuring him of the state's full cooperation as the military intensifies efforts to curb terrorism, kidnapping, and other threats. Major General Fadairo, who previously served in the Southeast earlier in his career, pledged to deploy his experience to improve security operations in the state and the region. He acknowledged the support already extended to security agencies by the Abia state government and called for continued collaboration from residents, noting that public cooperation remains vital to restoring lasting peace. Meanwhile, the Abia state government has strengthened existing security structures ahead of the Christmas season, according to the special advisor to the governor on security. Navy Commander McDonald Uba retired security agencies have been placed on heightened alert following directives issued during the state's monthly Security Council meeting. He assured residents that comprehensive measures are already in place to ensure safe movement, protect businesses, and prevent criminal activities throughout the festive period. The Katsina state government has rolled out a comprehensive pension reform designed to fix long-standing administrative gaps and delays affecting the payment of pensions and gratuities to workers across the state. The reform, officially signed into law by Governor Diko Rada, aims to create a more transparent, structured, and efficient pension administration system for both state and local government employees. According to the Ministry of Justice, the new framework became necessary after years of recurring issues including inaccurate pension records, mounting liabilities, and persistent delays that left many retirees waiting long periods for their entitlements. Under the new arrangements, the government has established a state and local government pension and gratuity reform committee to coordinate implementation and provide technical guidance. Existing retirees and workers with 5 years or less before retirement will operate under the contributory defined benefits pension scheme, allowing them to remain within the older structure while benefiting from the newly organized processes. As part of the broader restructuring, the state has adjusted contribution rates to strengthen pension funding. Employers will contribute 13%, while employees will contribute 7%, raising total monthly contributions to 20%. The government has also increased the minimum pension paid to retirees from 5,000 naira to 10,000 naira, a measure intended to cushion the impact of rising living costs and provide additional support for the most vulnerable retired workers. The new pension law is expected to reshape pension administration in Katsina, reduce arrears, and create a clear pathway for sustainable retirement benefits for current and future employees. The All Progressives Congress APC in Southwest has expressed concern over the rising incidents of killings, kidnappings, and organized criminal attacks in several parts of the country, urging security stakeholders at all levels to intensify efforts to stem the trend. The party's alarm follows a series of disturbing incidents, including the almost simultaneous abduction of schoolgirls in Kebbi and Niger states and the attack on a church in Kwara state, where several worshippers were killed and others taken away by armed assailants. All abducted victims have since been rescued through coordinated operations by federal and state authorities. In a statement issued in Ibadan by its Zonal Publicity Secretary, the Southwest APC commended the quick intervention of security agencies and the governments involved, noting that the successful rescue operations demonstrated improved interagency collaboration and rapid response capacity. The party attributed the increasing frequency of attacks to what it described as orchestrated efforts by saboteurs within and outside the country seeking to destabilize national progress. It called on citizens, political leaders, and institutions to adopt a unified approach to addressing insecurity, stressing the need for community vigilance, stronger local security structures, and more robust intelligence gathering at the grassroots. The party also urged state governments to strengthen community-based security outfits to complement federal agencies while encouraging residents to provide actionable information that can help prevent attacks before they occur. It welcomed recent federal directives aimed at boosting national security capacity, including the declaration of a state of emergency on security and the approval for mass recruitment into the army and the police. According to the party, these measures reflect a renewed commitment to addressing insecurity decisively and preventing criminal networks from destabilizing the country. The National Working Committee of the African Democratic Congress has upheld the expulsion of Kogi lawmaker Honorable Leke Abejide, reinforcing an earlier decision by the party's state chapter and deepening the internal dispute that has dominated the ADC in recent weeks. The ratification reached at the end of the NWC's meeting in Abuja follows a request by the Kogi chapter urging the Speaker of the House of Representatives to declare the Yagwa Federal Constituency seat vacant. The party's leadership said the action aligns with its stance on strict discipline as it prepares for upcoming congresses. Following the confirmation, the NWC directed the Kogi chapter to commence filling vacant positions across ward, local government, and state structures in line with transition guidelines. The directive marks another phase in the sweeping reorganization that began after Honorable Abejide's suspension earlier in the year. The push to remove the two-term lawmaker has been driven by allegations of misconduct and anti-party activities, which the Kogi leadership said were aggravated by its public criticism of the ADC on national media platforms. His suspension in August and subsequent refusal to appear before the party's appeal panel formed part of the grounds cited for his removal. The latest approval from the NWC comes shortly after Honorable Abejide launched a strong defense of his mandate, dismissing the move to unseat him as illegitimate. His camp insists that the individuals behind the petition were themselves expelled at the ward level and therefore lacked the authority to initiate disciplinary action. They argued that the attempts to involve the House of Reps are built on constitutional claims that the petitioners have no standing to make. Honorable Abejide's team maintains that he remains the validly elected representative of Yagba Federal Constituency and that his position is protected under the law. The dispute, which now pits state and national party structures against the lawmakers' loyalists, is expected to test the ADC's internal cohesion as it moves towards its next round of congresses. Indian authorities have arrested no fewer than 50 Nigerians in what has been described as one of the country's largest coordinated operations against the transnational narcotics and money laundering syndicate. The multi-agency crackdown led by the Delhi police in collaboration with Telangana's elite Eagle unit followed months of intelligence gathering and resulted in simultaneous raids across Delhi and several other cities. The operations targeted a cartel allegedly distributing methamphetamine and cocaine while laundering proceeds through an elaborate Hawala network. Investigators found that the syndicate operated with a high level of sophistication, using encrypted channels and delivery patterns similar to food delivery apps to avoid direct contact through dead drop exchanges. Authorities also uncovered links between the drug ring and a sex trade network that reportedly provided both cover and logistical support for distribution. According to NDTV, the network serviced an estimated 2,000 customers across multiple states. Police teams from Noida, Vizag, and Gwalior were deployed to support the coordinated sweep. Financial investigations revealed that proceeds from the drug trade were laundered through local Hawala operators and converted into goods such as garments and human hair. These items were then exported to Lagos, Nigeria, masking illicit funds as legitimate commercial exports. Indian officials described the arrest as a major breakthrough in efforts to dismantle what they termed an entrenched and evolving drug distribution pipeline involving foreign nationals. Previous operations in cities such as Bengaluru, Delhi, and Goa had already linked several synthetic drug seizures to Nigerian suspects. Authorities say the next phase of the probe will involve tightening immigration checks, tracking Hawala facilitators, and identifying remaining cartel coordinators believed to be operating outside India. This is ComfortTV.channel news. We return shortly with business, foreign, and sports news. Many thanks for staying tuned to ComfortTV.channel. In the world of business, the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) has reported a rise in private sector credit to 74.41 trillion naira in October 2025, marking a significant rebound from 72.53 trillion naira in September. The 1.88 trillion naira month-on-month increase represents the strongest positive movement so far in 2025. The October recovery followed the Monetary Policy Committee's decision in September to cut the monetary policy rate by 50 basis points to 27%, the first rate reduction since 2020. The move came as inflation began to ease and foreign exchange conditions improved. At its November meeting, the MPC maintained the rate at 27%, but adjusted the corridor around it to discourage banks from placing excess liquidity with the CBN. Signaling caution in managing inflationary pressures. Despite the sharp month-on-month rise, annual growth in private credit remains modest. The October figure of 74.41 trillion is only slightly higher than the 74.07 trillion recorded in October 2024, indicating that the recent surge has been driven more by short-term policy effects than sustained expansion. Throughout 2025, private sector lending has moved in a stop-start pattern rather than a steady upward trajectory. Credit opened the year at 77.38 trillion naira, dipped to 76.26 trillion naira in February and 75.98 trillion naira in March, and then climbed to 78.07 trillion in April. Another decline followed between May and June, dropping to 76.13 trillion naira. After a slight recovery in August to 75.88 trillion naira, credit fell sharply in September before the October rebound restored part of the lost ground. Monthly data shows significant fluctuations, a decline of 1.12 trillion naira between January and February, a smaller dip in March, a strong rise in April, and renewed weakness from May to June. The steepest movement occurred in September, when lending fell by 3.36 trillion naira from August, setting the stage for the subsequent recovery. AIICO Insurance PLC has unveiled its innovative product, AIICO All-in-One Financial Protection, a bundled insurance solution designed to protect Nigeria's smallholder farmers, rural families, and undeserved population against financial shocks. The launch held in Lagos followed a nationwide engagement tour covering Ibadan, Kano, and Calabar. The product combines 3 essential covers in one accessible, affordable package: personal accident insurance to compensate for accidental injury, disability, or death; hospital encashment, providing cash benefits during hospital admissions; and a deferred annuity, a flexible long-term retirement savings plan. Premiums are deliberately structured to suit low-income earners, starting at 800 naira for personal accident and 5,000 naira for hospital encashment, with deferred annuity contributions customized to the individual. Ahead of the launch, AIICO engaged with traditional rulers, community leaders, farmer associations, and rural households across key agricultural regions. Feedback from these communities highlighted the urgent need for simple, affordable insurance solutions that protect against health emergencies, accidents, and provide long-term financial security. AIICO's Managing Director and CEO, Mr. Babatunde Fajemiropun, emphasized that the product reflects the company's commitment to expanding financial inclusion. He noted that the grassroots engagement strategy allowed the company to understand real community challenges, ensuring the solution meets the needs of Nigeria's informal workforce. By bundling multiple covers into an affordable, flexible package, AIICO's new product aims to reduce Nigeria's protection gap, particularly in rural and semi-urban communities, where insurance penetration remains low. The launch represents a significant step in embedding financial security and peace of mind into communities most vulnerable to economic shocks. Founded in 1963, AIICO Insurance is a leading composite insurer in Nigeria, providing life, general, and health insurance, as well as investment management services to individual families and corporate clients across the country. Onto the foreign scene. France President Emmanuel Macron has announced a new voluntary military program for French youth aiming to strengthen the nation's armed forces in response to growing security threats in Europe, particularly from Russia. Starting next year, thousands of 18 and 19-year-olds will serve in the military for 10 months, limited to France's mainland and overseas territories, without participating in foreign operations. The initiative will begin with 3,000 volunteers selected next summer and gradually expand to 10,000 per year by 2030, with the potential to reach 50,000 annually by 2035. Depending on global circumstances, volunteers will receive military status, wages, and equipment. After 1 month of training, they will spend 9 months performing the same missions as active personnel before joining the military reserve. Those interested may pursue professional military service. President Macron emphasized that conscription will not be reintroduced. Only in exceptional cases will Parliament authorize compulsory enlistment for individuals with critical skills identified through a one-day national defense course. France currently maintains about 200,000 active personnel and over 40,000 reservists, making it the EU's second largest military after Poland. China has strongly urged Japan to confront its colonial rule over Taiwan and retract recent statements by Japanese Prime Minister Sanae Taikachi, which Beijing says interferes in China's internal affairs. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Mao Ning criticized Japan for imposing colonial rule on the island of Taiwan for half a century, committing countless heinous crimes, according to the Global Times. Mao said Prime Minister Taikachi's remarks sent a wrong signal to Taiwan's independent separatist forces and endangered peace and stability across the Taiwan Straits. Speaking at a press briefing in Beijing, spokeswoman Mao noted that 2025 marks the 80th anniversary of China's victory over Japan in World War II. She called on Tokyo to profoundly reflect on its historical crimes, learn from historical lessons, abide by the One China principle, and act cautiously on the Taiwan question. Beijing's statement followed Prime Minister Taikachi's November 7 comment suggesting that a Chinese attack on Taiwan could legally constitute a survival-threatening situation, potentially allowing Japan to exercise the right of collective self-defense. The remarks heightened tensions between the two nations. China's response has reportedly affected bilateral interactions, with hundreds of thousands of Chinese tourists canceling trips to Japan. Tokyo also reported that Beijing temporarily suspended Japanese seafood imports and postponed a planned trilateral cultural ministers meeting with Japan and South Korea, moves Japan has criticized. On sports, Super Eagles forward Ademola Lookman has confirmed his full focus on Atalanta, dismissing persistent links to a potential January transfer. The Nigerian attacker has been closely monitored by Galatasaray, who were reportedly exploring a mid-season move to take him from Bergamo. However, Lookman's recent performances suggest he is determined to concentrate on his current club. Following Atalanta's 3-0 Champions League win over Eintracht Frankfurt, Lookman delivered a standout performance, scoring the opener and setting up Ederson for a second goal in a decisive 5-minute spell. His display underscored his importance to head coach Rafael Palladino's project. Speaking to Sports on Sky, Lookman reflected on the summer transfer controversies but emphasized that the past is behind him. He said his priority is helping Atalanta succeed and winning as many games as possible under Palladino's attacking style, which he says suits his strength. A Sunderland supporter has been banned from attending football matches for 3 years after racially abusing Leeds United captain Ethan Ampadu and Largi Ramazani during a championship match at Elland Road. West Yorkshire Police confirmed that 68-year-old Stephen Patterson from Bishop Auckland pleaded guilty to racially aggravated offending. He was fined £346 with additional costs and a surcharge totaling £223. The abuse occurred as Ampadu and Ramazani were leaving the pitch following Leeds' 2-1 win, with Patterson reportedly making a monkey gesture towards the players. The referee promptly reported the incident to authorities. Leeds United, along with Ampadu and Ramazani, thanked the police for their support, emphasizing that there is no room for racism in football or society. The match itself saw Leeds secure a dramatic victory with a stoppage time winner from substitute Pascal Struij coming from behind to claim all 3 points and return to the top of the championship table. And that's our news bulletin this hour. But before we go, here is a recap of our top stories. President Tinubu hosts ex-Governor Soludo at Aso Villa in post-election talks. Governor Otti pledges full backing for Army as Abia strengthens security ahead of Christmas. Southwest APC calls for coordinated action as insecurity spikes across Nigeria. Katsina introduces overhaul of pension system to improve payment efficiency. ADC NWC confirms expulsion of Kogi lawmaker. India arrests 50 Nigerians in major crackdown on transnational drug and Hawala network. On business, CBN reports 74.41 trillion naira credit to private sector in 1 month. Foreign now, President Macron launches voluntary military service for French youth. And on sports, Ademola Lookman commits to Atalanta despite transfer speculation. Thanks for watching. For breaking news, exclusive interviews and more, follow us online at ComfortTV.channel on all platforms. Remember to like, share, subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on future updates. My name is Faith Kevin. Until next time, stay informed, stay connected.